Hi, I'm glad you're here. This place is a place for us. A place for us to learn and connect and talk about the things that nobody ever really explained but probably should have. Every episode, we'll be exploring topics about our bodies, our feelings, and how we connect to other people. No shame, no confusion, just us.
I hope that includes me too. Hi, babes. I'm Pepper. Think of me as the cool aunt. You know, the one that listens and actually doesn't judge. I'm here for emotional support. So when you need help checking in with yourself, those emotional boundaries, and making sure you don't lose yourself, especially in those situationships, I'm your boy. I'm not the only one who's lost himself to situationships, right?
Right.
Okay. Anyway, what are we doing today?
Today, we're going to be talking about a word that I think most people have heard, but I don't think they really know about.
You're talking about intersex. Yeah, a lot of people think it's the same thing as being transgender, but it's really not.
So no, it's not. And we're going to find out why it's not the same thing. So let's meet somebody who could tell us a little bit more.
Whew. I already feel the heat. I'm gonna go make some tea.
Hey friends! Today we're here with Keegan, who's here to tell us a little bit more about what it means to be intersex. So if you don't know what that means, you're not alone. Today we're going to find out some more. So Keegan, hey.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being here.
So excited.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I'm Keegan. I use they, them pronouns. I am here today to talk to you a little bit more about being intersex. I myself am an intersex person, and so I just like to come on here and bust some myths and teach a little bit about my community and some stuff that's really important to us.
Yes, we're so excited to have you. So to start, what does being intersex mean to you?
For sure. So being intersex to me is just having a having a body that exists outside of the binary of one of the traditional paths that we take in the development of sex. So when I talk about sex, I'm talking about your biological characteristics and not necessarily traits like related to gender. I think that's where a lot of people can get mixed up. But generally, I'm here to talk about things like hormones and puberty and genitalia. I know, kind of a scary word, but intersex people live outside of those binaries and have bodies that just are amazing. And there's a lot to know about what it's like to live in one of these bodies. And yeah, I just want to share as much as I can about that.
Thank you. So from your experience, right, what are some common myths or misconceptions that you've heard about people who are intersex?
Absolutely. So some of the biggest ones that I hear are that we are extremely rare. No one's ever heard of us. That's actually one of the most harmful myths that we have. Intersex people are about as common as fraternal twins. They say as common, around 2% of the population. There are varying studies. Some of them say 0.5%, but most of them kind of average around 2%. And so you probably, if you know a fraternal twin, you also probably know someone who's intersex. That's one of our biggest myths. So we're around, we're here. Just people don't normally talk about it as much.
Yeah, where do you think these misconceptions come from? Why do you think people feel like there's not as many twins as there are, fraternal twins as there are intersex people?
For sure. I mean, for a long time, intersex people are talked about in terms of mythology, right? Some of the famous intersex people of the past are part of myth or story and that kind of stuff. And our kind of modern experiences have been largely erased due to colonialism and Eurocentrism, right? But intersex people have existed forever, since the dawn of humanity. There have been intersex people in every culture and every society throughout the world. And I just think we, have a lot of shame in our culture and our society. And a lot of intersex people have been told, especially in the modern day, that they should not talk about their bodies. They shouldn't connect with other people who have similar bodies. And And so that kind of creates a culture where we don't really talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Speaking about not speaking about it, right? So
Yeah.
you could talk about like the stigma behind bringing it up, or even talking about a child when a child is first born. So why do you think some families feel pressure to hide or alter sex characteristics for children?
A lot of families feel a lot of pressure when they have an intersex child. A lot of it stems from there's not a lot of education in the medical community. That's like one of the bigger parts. And there's been a concerted effort by a lot of doctors in the past 50 years where the standard protocol when you have an intersex child is to assign them to one of the binary genders.
Yeah.
Typically, they will pick whatever that gender or sex is for them or surgically assign that to them.
Based on how the parent feels?
Based on how the parent feels. There's a really like unfortunate saying in medicine that it's easier to dig a hole than build a pole. Yeah, don't love that one. But that's one of the common like sayings that people have when they're trying to surgically assign sex to someone. But you know, I'm trying the kind of MO for a long time was okay, don't tell the child that they're intersex, don't tell any of their friends that they're intersex. Just kind of let them walk around the world and they'll either find out or they don't. And so for a long time, the way that people found out they were intersex was they, went to go have an exam of some kind in their like mid-20s, maybe in like revolving fertility, maybe not. And then they would be like, you don't have this kind of anatomy, or you have this kind of variation, whether it's be like you don't have a cervix, you don't have a uterus, right? And they would find their medical records and find out like that they had all of these procedures done, all of this testing, and no one had told them. When I found out I was intersex in 2015, my everyone kind of encouraged me in my inner circle, like, don't tell people, don't tell your friends, don't tell anyone, because you don't know how people are going to react, right? It's this sense of fear. I think a lot of times parents, spread this idea that they shouldn't tell about it because they have fear for their child.
They don't understand themselves, so it can be scary,
Absolutely, right? There's a lot of just like, for a lot of time in history, it's been told that you can't live outside of a binary gender-wise, and so when someone's body starts outside of the binary, it can kind of complicate things for, socially, but in reality, non-binary people are real, intersex people are real, the binary is fake, it's made up. And so I think as we've kind of had a gender revolution, we're also having an intersex revolution. We're having this knowledge that life outside of the binary is only as scary as other people make it.
And what's something that you wish that these families knew beforehand, before like making these big decisions for their children's bodies?
Well, first of all, you don't have to make a decision, right? So one of the big things, right? One of the things that we say in terms of like intersex surgery most commonly is that delay is okay. So what we're mostly advocating against is intersex advocates, intersex people, is non-consensual, irreversible, cosmetic genital surgeries, which often happen on intersex infants, intersex babies, before they can even talk or mention anything about their gender or their sex or how they feel about themselves, or anything like that. So our main thing is we say, as people grow and like come in to have a better sense of their gender, we shouldn't be making assumptions about what people want to do with their sex lives, how they'll present with their gender, based on their genitalia, right? Yeah. And we should let them make that decision for themselves and not have a doctor surgically assign them to one of those things. So our biggest thing is like, for most intersex surgeries that are not medically necessary, right? Of course there are medically necessary things.
Yeah.
It's important to be able to pee, right? It's important to be able to like not have any blockages in your urogenital kind of area.
Yeah.
But like a lot of decisions about like how big someone's phallus should be, a lot of decisions about like if someone should or shouldn't have a vagina, or what kind of decisions they will make about having sex in the future, should be left to the person to make that decision themselves.
I feel like people are also like, but what are they going to do while they're growing up? And it's like, why do we have to keep putting people in binaries? What if they just are a child and figure it out as they get older?
Puberty is, if you show me as someone who went through their puberty years knowing everything about their sexuality,
I feel like puberty is also forever. You go through like 3 puberties. You turn 13 into puberty, 15 into puberty, 16, everything. So their body's like constantly changing, it feels like. So to try to like force someone to fit into a certain binary during such a transitional time, I feel like is so like annoying.
exactly. No,
But
seriously.
in other terms, a lot of people have only heard the term intersex when it's like grouped with other terms, such as like non-binary or transgender. What do you have to say about like the importance of not grouping certain identities?
Ooh, complicated one for me. So I am someone who identifies as both intersex and trans. And I firmly believe that the intersex struggle and the trans struggle are inherently interlinked. But that's not the take that all intersex people have, right? So not all intersex people identify as being queer or LGBT in any kind of capacity. Some intersex people are cis and straight, but a good percentage of us are not. But the general kind of consensus that I have is that we all are experiencing this queering of our bodies. If we're using like gender theory terms, we're experiencing this queering of our bodies, regardless of if we identify as queer or not. And so we often fight against surgeries that we don't want or that are designed for us, and trans people often have to fight for surgeries that they do want. And so it's a really kind of big question about medical autonomy, right? If someone knows what they want and knows about their body and knows a fact, like they should have the absolute
to
right to
them.
have self-determination.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's the general thing, is that like trans and intersex people are all fighting for some kind of self-determination.
Give me what I want. Yeah.
Right? We just want to exist. You know,
Yeah.
we just want to be able to live our lives in a way that just works for us. And that's a very beautiful thing. It's like, honestly, the closest thing that I probably have to religion is, that self-determination, making sure that people are able to do what they want with their bodies.
Yeah.
Really none of my business.
And speaking about like self-determination, do you remember the first time that you felt affirmed in your identity?
I mean, I'm still looking all the way, right? But I think the first time I really felt grounded in being intersex, I found out I was intersex at 15, and I didn't meet another intersex person in person until I was maybe 19 or 20. So, just connecting with another person who has lived their life, especially intersex like elders, people who are older than I am and are come from different generations. I'm kind of the like start of the generation where we were able to keep a lot of our like anatomy intact. And just listening to their stories and their experiences just made me even more like determined to make sure that like this stays. This is the end of intersex like intervention that's not necessary. But connecting with that community of people is an incredibly radical thing. There really weren't a lot of gatherings bigger than like maybe 10-ish intersex people until like the late 80s or early 90s. It's a community, like intersex variations or traits affect everyone in every culture in every place of the world. And so there's not like a geographically unifying thing. We're not a diasporic community in any kind of way. And so just being able to get together, especially when we've been told like, there won't be anyone like you. Yeah. I've never had another patient like this. I've never experienced another thing. A lot of times we're the first intersex person that our doctor has interacted with. And so just kind of us getting together creates this kind of like beauty and magic, and being able to just know that you really are not alone in a way that's really impactful and meaningful. That's the first time where I really was like, okay.
Yeah, this is my gang. We together.
This is my crew. Like, this is... And, like, the intersex community is incredibly diverse, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't affect just, like, any group. It affects everyone. And it's really cool to just see all of the diverse perspectives across the intersex community. There, like I said, there are straight intersex people, there are gay intersex people, there are disabled intersex people. There are all kinds of incredible, amazing cultures that come together in this beautiful celebration of life beyond the binary.
Yeah, I love that because it exists and it's important.
Yep.
So moving on, speaking about like access to healthcare, right, and the work that you do,
Girl.
what legal protection do you think currently exists for intersex people in the U.S., if any?
Oh, like none. Yeah, no, right? So there is not really a lot of particular legal protection. These surgeries still happen.
Yeah.
Unnecessary medical intervention and like a lot of pervasive old intersex like treatment methodologies are still the thing that people have the most common access to, especially in the medical community. And it's kind of hard too because legislating surgeries is a very like difficult thing. But in general, no, there's not like a protection. We often are not grouped in with a lot of like LGBT things, which, you know, different people have different takes
opinions
about,
on it,
right?
yeah.
But, you know, we don't really have a lot of legal protections. We are not like considered a protected class. We can kind of sometimes be grouped in under like Title IX and Title X, which have to do with like gender equality in like all kinds of different places. But yeah,
Gender equality and diversity.
yeah, which we love.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we are completely lacking a lot of like legal protections. Intersex people have undeniably like way worse mental health, physical health outcomes and are like way more likely to be like living in poverty or under poverty because we, you know, their intersex care kind of comes to a peak when you're a child. You get you know, everyone's really invested in intersex babies and intersex
when they're
youth.
first born.
Yeah. I mean, and like, you know, pre-puberty has a lot of like impact on how life will go. But then once you kind of hit your mid-20s, you stop being able to go to a lot of the children's research hospitals.
They're like, okay, bye. Figure it out.
Right. They're like, have fun, you're intersex. Good luck finding a doctor.
Find something. Find somebody to help you.
Figure it out. And then, you know, then those things get worse for us. And then we have to kind of take our luck wherever we can go and see what happens.
Yeah.
A lot of times intersex people have complicated medical needs, right? A lot of times they've had the organs in their bodies that produce hormones removed from their bodies. And so they need to be in some kind of hormone replacement therapy. Yeah, and they just often, you know, a lot of these surgeries create like a lifelong medical need, and access to healthcare, period, is already a huge thing, and for intersex people are definitely part of that.
Yeah. So if someone like involved in the medical field, right, or healthcare field wanted to know more or get advice on how they feel they should treat someone that is intersex, what advice would you give them?
For sure. So there are amazing resources put up by a lot of different organizations. There is, you know, the general rule of thumb is like it is okay to admit that you don't know something. I know that you go to medical school, you're supposed to know everything about everything, but like you likely don't know about my variation, right? You likely don't know about my experience walking around the world. And so like the first thing that I always look for, like when I'm looking for a doctor, is like someone who's able to be humble in that way. Someone who's able to say, I don't know, but I'm willing to learn. Organizations like Interact have like primary care guides and hospital policy guides that are critical and have lots of intersex like community voices involved in them. So those have some great places to start if you have an intersex patient or want to make a clinic more accessible for intersex people. But, you know, learning about shame, right? Doing everything you can to be an anti-oppressive provider. A lot of like other, you know, oppressive systems, whether that be race or gender or sexuality, can also be applied to intersex people. We want to reduce shame. We want to make it safe for people to show up. And just doing everything you can to let them know that like they are not in any way broken. A lot of times intersex variations are completely just normal and healthy and part of human biology. And we don't really need medical attention for some of that stuff. Some of it is just kind of let us be. admit what you don't know, and then promise to try and find more.
I love that.
Yeah.
Find more. Why don't you do some research? Look into it. Learn something for yourself.
Listen, I do all this work, right? I talk to medical students. I talk to current doctors. I work with hospitals and research hospitals and all kinds of things in that realm to make sure that the most amount of people in the medical field know that, like, you have the power to make a difference here. You have the ability to make an intersex person feel othered and terrible, right?
Yeah.
Some of our most, like, traumatic experiences come from the medical field. There are lots of pictures of, like, very young intersex people in medical textbooks that did not consent to those things. I mean, consent is important everywhere, and especially with intersex people. Knowing that we don't always need a, like, super invasive pelvic exam every time we come into the doctor, and that not everyone working in the clinic needs to come and be a part of that. Protecting privacy, protecting autonomy. These are all, like, critical for just, like, healthcare in general, and a lot of them just need to kind of be applied to intersex people too.
Yeah, and also, like, relationships. So how to different in other words, like, how would you take everything you're saying about these medical professionals and what they should be doing? How do you incorporate these ideals in, like, your personal relationships?
Absolutely. I mean, being intersex has been one of the most, like, influential things in my relationship, right? Like, I think intersex people need to be told and reminded that, like, no one is settling for you because you're intersex. There's this kind of idea that, like, intersex people are, like, sexually broken, or they're not able to have, like, normal sexual function, which, number one, normal sexual function is garbage.
What is normal?
It's not real.
Exactly.
It's not. No one has sex in one way. And, like, number two, however you experience pleasure in your body is, like, okay. And, having a partner who's willing to understand and know that. Having a partner who's willing to know that, like, you have been hurt in some kind of way. You've experienced this, like, trauma your whole life. People telling you you're not going to be able to have this kind of sex. You're not going to be able to do this. Be prepared for that, right? And just having someone who's open to communication. That's part of why I love my partner so much, is we're able to talk about things that are really hard. But it's the key to really any relationship. Having the hard conversations and knowing that you are actually worth something and that you're important and that your worth is not defined at all by how you do or don't have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So say someone is, like, new to the dating world and they got a little crush, and it could be kind of difficult to have these conversations. Like, what advice would you give to someone that's newly coming into their identity and also, like, newly approaching relationships and dating?
Absolutely. Thinking about this one. Number one, don't let heteronormativity control your life. Even if you are heterosexual, right? Like, it's very, like, heteronormativity is an idea that is, like, destructive to everyone, regardless of if you're gay or straight or anything.
Fight the patriarchy.
I mean, but, like, actually, right? Like, the patriarchy and, like, transphobia are all kind of play parts in, this fear around intersex people. Yeah. But generally, I mean, the thing to know is, like, challenge what your ideas about a normal sexuality are. Really drown out the voice of people who tell you that you're not lovable. Because they're really not correct. You are innately lovable. Everyone is, as they are, as a person. Yeah. And find your community, right? Like, come find us. We're here. We're, like, waiting to welcome you.
What does that look like for you? What is community for you?
I mean, community for me right now is my Signal group chat with, shout out Amanda and Johnny. I love you.
Amanda and Johnny.
Having that kind of community where you're able to talk about the things that matter. Right now, I'm essentially an uncle to little intersex babies. Shout out to my nibbling Ori.
Yes, nibblings.
Yeah, right? I mean, like, for me, it was really important to, like, connect with intersex people of all ages. So, like, because when I found out, I had no one. I have, trans family members.
Mm-hmm.
I almost outed someone in my family. Oops.
Oopsie.
I have trans family members. And even they were kind of like, it's hard to grasp intersexness and intersexuality. But finding, like, literally just having someone to talk to and be like, damn, had to go to the doctor today. That was garbage. Having someone who you can call and be like, look, I need this kind of medication done. Like, what kind of hormones are you on? What doctors are you seeing? How do we talk about, like, vaginal penetration, whatever, depending on what you
With somebody who gets it, right?
Yeah.
Not trying to explain or over-explain yourself to somebody who's like, I have to degree. I'm supposed to understand it, but, like, I really don't.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's really just about finding other intersex people that make you feel safe and have similar, like, ideas. Like, I don't have a lot in common with, like, a super cisgender intersex person, but, like, I would do anything to make sure that they feel safe.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people in the community would do anything to make each other feel safe, and make sure that people know that they're not alone. Because people will tell you that you are the exception, that you are the only one. One of the things I remember my doctor telling me when I first found out was, like, I have never seen anyone with this condition ever. We only talked about it for, like, 1 second, a minute in medical school, and I'm going to remember this for the rest of my career. And I was like, that's really funny, because someone 20 miles away was told the exact same thing. And now we're besties.
Yeah. So somebody's not connecting here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
These people exist. Why do you not know about it? Like,
And before we were able to get together like that, it's easier to divide people that don't know each other. So, like, the advent of the internet was a huge
they were like,
leap.
kill it.
Yeah, right?
They're learning too many things.
Yeah, they're getting too smart.
They're getting too smart.
They're getting too much. To save it. The intersex
Yeah.
they're getting too powerful. But, like, we are.
Yeah, as you should.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who just found out that they're intersex?
If you just found out that you're intersex, you should, number one, take a second to breathe. I pinky promise that it's going to be okay. Or if you find out that your child is intersex, I promise that this will not impact your child's life in the ways that you think that it will. The first thing is make sure that they're healthy. Make sure that they can go pee normally. Make sure that everything works how it's supposed to. But then just love yourself or love your child exactly as they are. There's nothing wrong with them. They are a gift. They will teach you more than you could ever even begin to imagine. And you are about to start a really wild journey. But find other intersex people. We are here for you. We're waiting. Get on a phone call, connect to interact. These are the things that will help you. And don't let any kind of doctor tell you that you are alone and not worthy. You get to decide who you tell you're intersex to. You get to decide everything as much as possible. And don't let anyone make you feel afraid of that.
Period. Straight from Keegan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow. That was deep.
Very much so.
I enjoyed that so much.
I did too.
What was your favorite moment?
So my favorite moment is the fun fact that I learned in the beginning with Keegan about how, normal it is for intersex people to be born just as normal as, like, fraternal twins. And I don't know. I feel like the way that it was always presented to me when I was growing up is, like, something that's, like, a one and, like, a shooting star, one in a lifetime type vibe. So it's really good to, like, learn a new fact that makes you think about something in a whole different way. Like, these people exist. They're real. They matter. There's a community. And it's our job to, like, help support those voices.
Absolutely. I enjoy that too. And I also really like that Keegan didn't say they're as common as redheads, only because it's true.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not true. It's very true. And I felt like, fraternal twins was just like a newer way to talk about it that I had never heard before.
Everybody loves some twins. That's the thing. You say twin, everybody's like, twin,
What?
twin. You say intersex, like, intersex, you know? So why don't we need to normalize the way we are saying these words and talking about these people and these experiences?
Exactly. And I think that was the biggest takeaway from today, the need to normalize. And I also really like that Keegan talked about their controversial take being that the trans fight for liberation and the intersex fight for liberation are very much connected. And I think that even though we call ourselves the LGBTQIA++ community, right? We want all the letters, okay?
Exactly.
Sometimes it can feel like my battle's here, somebody else's battle is
Yeah.
here, and it can feel difficult getting on the same page. And especially if I think that I'm struggling, I'm not really thinking about others, right?
Yeah.
So the notion that we'll go farther together, you know?
Yeah.
So that was really important hearing over and over again throughout the session.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold my hand. I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to hold all of our hands.
We're going to hold
and
each other's hands.
Yes.
It's going to be a whole lot of
please.
hand holding.
A lot of that. Not everything needs to be explained or boxed away, right? We do that a lot. This need to understand, but not really for the purpose of understanding. We just do it to kind of like figure out how we're going to judge a thing or a situation or a person. We don't need to do that, right? Our bodies come in this array of beautiful blueprints, and they get to be ours, and it gets to be our journey, right? Being intersex is not wrong, and it's definitely not rare. Okay? So we should stop pretending like the world only has two flavors. That's boring. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
You put me on a spot. I really don't know. And I think that proves your point.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Not to say that people are ice cream. I'm just saying that if you really struggle to think about what you even enjoy eating, think about the world through that lens. There's so much out there that we don't know.
You ate that.
Thank you.
I really had to think about that. I'm like, there's so many good ice creams. I remember Ben & Jerry's strawberry cheesecake.
Oh,
Send me some.
that is nice.
Yeah, that's a good one. What's yours?
I'm going to say Rocky Road, even though it's like, I just like a chocolate, brownie, crunchy, peanut buttery thing. So anything in that realm is nice. But I also like pistachio, which also goes to say you don't need to just stick to one thing.
Exactly.
Right? Nobody's limited. And the more we believe that, the freer we'll get. I think. I know. I feel.
agree.
Yeah.
I see it. Well, I hope you learned something new today. I know I did. And what comes with learning, growing, changing, developing. And that's what we want you to do here on Now You're Getting It. So drop a comment if you enjoyed. And drop a comment if you have any questions.
And if you have any experiences that you want to share with us, please DM us on our Instagram, on our Facebook, even
on our TikTok, and on our
YouTube. Or wherever you can find us at Teens Pact, reach out to us because we do want to hear your stories and we want to amplify them. You know, we're only here as much as you are.
And we're here. And you'll see more of us on Teens Pact Presents. Now You're Getting It.